To every black girl on TikTok, I'm here to say that I'm sorry. I'm sorry that we have to sit here and watch our race and our culture of women be bashed and disrespected just so they can uplift other females of other color. And I'm sorry. I'm so sorry that we see a boy of our own color, we're so insecure and traumatized that we don't even think, am I pretty enough anymore? We have to sit and think, does he even want me because of the color of my skin? And I'm so sorry that we have to go through that. You're beautiful and I want you to know it. I promise.
All right. This was actually sent to me by a couple of my Twitter followers. And when I first read it, it was actually idiotic about trying to demonize black boys and black men for not liking or not choosing darker skinned women. In other words, little colorist boys should be expelled and fired from their jobs for not choosing black women or discriminating against black women like white people do, which I thought on its face was actually stupid, especially for children. Okay, children can be cruel and they do call names and they can get in trouble, but trying to expel little black boys for not liking little black girls is ridiculous. I thought it was ridiculous in the first place. So when I read that, that made me click on the video, the TikTok video that they uploaded. And with this little girl basically crying because she feels that little black boys are abusing black girls by not saying that they're pretty and not preferring the way that they look. And I don't know how much truth there is to that. I don't really have any proof to what she's saying. Like I said, I know that young people can be cruel to each other, because I know black women have been calling little black boys names and nappy-headed and short and ugly and all that stuff for centuries. And nobody said anything, but when the tables have turned, then black women can't take it. Black women have tons of ways to actually insult and discredit black men, and tons of descriptors to put black men down. But to see not only them not liking it, but them crying about it. And she's not the first. She's not the first I've heard complaining and crying about not being the first choice of men that look like her. I said, I've been on YouTube for 5 or 6 years, and I can tell you that it hasn't been a month, really a week that goes by that doesn't complain about this. You have whole channels for black females called dark skin activists that ever since I've been on YouTube have complained about this. Well, they have no problems sending arrows the other way. And then the first thing they say is that they can do without us. They don't need our attention. They don't need our adoration. And all that stuff doesn't mean anything because they can go to another group and get it. In fact, I had a swirler called Miss Archduchess who was just saying the same thing. In fact, Jason Black has women constantly on the panel saying the exact same thing, that black men getting attention from black men without money doesn't mean anything, and they have these stiff requirements for men to be with them and talk to them. So if that is the case, that means they have competition for their time and attention, and evidently that is not the case. And if you could read that thread about them wanting to punish black men and black boys for simply not preferring them and holding up, as they say, holding up another group of women over them. They want civil rights that black men fought for to be used against them, just so black women can feel better about themselves. Not that we have the power to discriminate against them or hurt them or send them to jail or put them in prison or pull them over and beat them up or anything like that. Nothing like that. Just because we don't prefer them, or some men don't prefer them, because it's not the vast majority of black men that don't prefer dark-skinned women, at least not yet, but a group of boys, the young boys. And it's really not the way they look, because if you ask the young men and the young boys why they don't prefer dark-skinned women or darker women or any group of women, it's because of the way they treat them, the attitude that they have. Soul and Black, he was just talking about game and talking about the difference about him being in the bar and him being dressed up, and some Nigerian woman came up and pulled his arm and basically was rude to him. And they said right after that, after we rebuffed him, then it was a white girl and an Egyptian woman that came over and bought him a drink to have conversation. But black women don't get it. They get it, but they lie about it. They put it in their head. It has nothing to do with their attitude. It has nothing to do with their treatment of black males. They have it in the head that the black men are prejudiced against how they look. Even though we were born from a black woman and we're imprinted first by black women. And it takes something else besides that to have us imprint on another group of women. The thing is that at the end of the day, black women really don't care what we think or how we feel, okay? They care about what they think and how they feel. And anything that doesn't serve that, they want to attack it. There is no live and let live policy that they have. And that's the problem that black men are talking about. If you want to be able to have freedom and do what you want to do and live your life the way you see fit, then the same thing should go for the little black boys that you despise so much. Because at the end of the day, you're not doing anything to help them or further them along. You're using them as stepping stones for your ego, for your self-esteem, for your betterment. And as one black mother says, she's going to tell her daughter not to date or allow her daughter not to date black boys because she didn't spend all this time building up her self-esteem to have little black boys destroy it. And I say bravo. But you also should teach her how to treat other men, because the way your attitude is toward your black boys is the same attitude she's going to carry to those other men. And guess what's going to happen? It's not going to work, which is why you're not being chosen in the first place. But unfortunately, black women always get that logic and that message and that revelation like a day late and a dollar short. Don't let your daughter get to be 50 before she finds out the truth. It's your job to teach her how to interact with men on a basis to where she can be accepted. And if you don't do that, then you're not doing her a service. She should be attractive to all men, and she should pick the best men possible for her. And she should not have to live out your angst, because what's going to happen is you're going to put that hatred in her heart, and guess what's going to happen? Then she really won't get picked. And then what she does will reflect on all the other black girls, which is what normally happens anyway. But anywho, I didn't want to make this too long, but just as an aside, I'm always curious why women, or black women especially, pick crying like their tears is going to change their reality. Like, because they cry, we're supposed to overlook their abuse of us. Because they cry, we're supposed to change our preferences and our dating patterns, so that the simps can come in behind you and basically shame black boys into dating and marrying women that have basically abused them. Doesn't make sense. This is probably why the manosphere will keep growing exponentially for the next 20 years or so. Anyway, with that, this is BGS out. I'll see you guys on the next one. Peace.